This is Jeff and Dom make a game, and we've made one. Look at
Yeah.
that! Oh god, it's so shaky. I forgot about the camera shake.
Yeah.
We've also got this lovely, lovely particle creator. Ooh, that's a little different than the last time I saw it, huh?
Yeah, I tweaked a couple of the settings. I think your speed needs to be about 60 times faster.
Yeah, but also, how cool is that? Oh, also these are now seconds, right? So I just made a 10-second sort of particle emitter.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. And particle rate for frame is actually particle rate per second. Cool.
Oh, yes, I should have changed that. I didn't.
That's okay. I love it.
Um, yeah, so the refactor that Dom is talking about is that I went through and changed some of the update functions. So we pass in a time delta. The variable name that we always use is dt. That's sort of like a calculus sort of thing, but it's basically rather than having some of our time-sensitive components and systems check the time themselves, we let the game sort of dependency inject the progress of time. And that way we can do things like pause the game and resume it, and also maybe even make sure that if like the frames are different times, that it still kind of renders smoothly and it simulates smoothly.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I found it a lot clearer to think about things in terms of happening per second instead of happening per frame. So
That's good. That's good.
it's a really sick change,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that landed before the stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the one extracurricular, and the other one was me taking our particle emitter class and dropping it into a web view where we could just screw around with it because it's really quite fun.
Yeah, this is actually kind of well, in addition to being like a cool little thing, it's just gonna actually. I think it's gonna basically be the first indication of what game development really is, which is tool development. I think most game development, if it's not using the tools, is building the tools. So it's great that we've sort of already started to cross that bridge. I think the other one that we've been talking about doing is also doing a map editor. Now, the funny thing is, in this sort of like realm of computer programming, there's always like, well, don't write code if you can just steal it. And for map editors, there's one that everybody likes to use, which is called tiled. You've probably seen that before. If I'm not mistaken, even the pros use tiled. I think my friends who work on Shovel Knight, I think they might use tiled for all their
Really?
tile sets. Yeah, for doing their level design and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of building at least our own rudimentary tools to fit exactly our purposes before we try to learn somebody else's.
I do as well, and I'm kind of just if like why I'd rather figure it out, and then we'll realize that making something perfect is a lot of work, and we'll go use someone else's, and we might end up that way with game engine and tile editor and who knows what else. But I'd rather take a stab at it first.
Yeah. That's the point of this stream, really, is to try to do the foolhardy thing first, which is great.
But gosh, this is really starting to feel like a game.
It does feel like a game a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. What should we work on today?
Yeah, so I think there are a variety of things that we could do. We could go the path of trying to make the map a little more interesting, or we could. And when I say making the map more interesting, that could mean two different things. One is that rather than rendering solid colors, maybe we do pre-baked images, sprite sheets, that sort of thing, tiles, like we were talking about.
Yep.
The other thing is being able to actually just like vary, or at least be able to edit the map in a way that feels somewhat usable. Right now, the map is in main.ts, if you want to go open that up. And it's literally just a string with different characters representing the different tiles that we're drawing.
Yeah, and I feel like it'd be interesting to work with this, but at the same time, gosh, it looks really frustrating.
Well, I think what's really what the truly frustrating thing is that like it's not really possible to go beyond 2 dimensions in
Mm-hmm.
a text file like this. And really, when you work with these tools and games, there are, you know, many dimensions. There's not only the sort of background tile that's at the particular XY coordinate that you're at. There's also whether there's entities stacked on top of that tile. There's also whether there are sort of pieces of geometry defined in there, like tagged rectangles or tagged spheres or circles or something like that that you use for implementing different game logic.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
A lot of level editors will also do paths as well. They'll sort of like draw nodes that are connected by edges
Hmm.
for use for all different kinds of things, right? Or they'll just like tag whole regions that are concave and complex or convex and complex across a map. And those are all things that are more or less impossible to do in an effective way from a source piece of
Yep.
source code.
Yeah. So in making if we were to look at a map editor, would it
Yeah.
essentially be about constructing those layers on top of each other, like we have basically our tile set here, but we have our entity map that we haven't really modified. I guess I'm pretty sure I can add 5 players, and this actually still happens
We
too.
could. I bet it would just work. Yeah.
It does, and then they'll all
Don't
collapse
you
on
love
each other.
modular? Yeah. Don't you love modular? Our code is so modular that we can have multiple players. That's great.
And it's interesting actually. It kind of doesn't know which one to follow.
Oh yes.
So I can actually get one all the way off the screen.
It should actually be following just the one, right? I thought when we spawn.
I think so. It's maybe the first, or it's probably the first or last one created.
I think it's just that we're sort of we're seeing screen shake right now is why it seems to be jittery.
That's true. I couldn't stop firing.
I get it.
But it's interesting that I can sort of pull away and figure out which one the camera is following.
Right. But on the note of multiple tanks, where I was going to go is that we're trying to answer the question of what to do today. We talked about making the map more interesting either in terms of graphics or in terms of like being able to edit it effectively. But the other thing that we could do in terms of multiple tanks is creating other entities that are interactive in some way. And that would be more of like a gameplay oriented thing as opposed to a tool or visual oriented thing.
I'd be very interested in that. It'd be nice to have something firing back at us, and I think it would maybe nudge us in the direction of having to put more effort into a map. And like, is there going to be blocking terrain or indestructible walls that are mountains or something? So having something actually try to attack us sounds pretty good.
Okay. You mentioned off stream maybe like a turret would be good because it would just be the most simplistic kind of quote unquote enemy that we can have.
Right.
Besides the wall.
It's
right?
an enemy tank with no wheels.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Let's do it.
Okay, that's right. I'm driving. Let's drive this tank with no wheels. So I guess we're doing a turret.ts. Cool. And let me remember what our stuff is. We just implemented INC. God, what a cool setup.
I bet we could take everything. I bet we could copy this whole file.
It's pretty close to the player. Yeah, what it's going to have is some sort of shooter script, right?
Right. That's a good question. Yeah, we need some kind of thing that lets it make decisions, and we need to figure out where that should go in the entity update.
I just want you. Yeah, now we're talking. You know what I could have done? Could have just copied all this. Figure out what we don't need later. So obviously our make turret, we probably won't have a mover. We will have a shooter, but our shooter is actually not responding to keyboard events.
Yeah, the shooter component maybe is pretty specific to the player. So one thing we could do is maybe not make the shooter component its own file and call it the player shooter and move it into player.ts. It feels
Yeah,
pretty specific, right?
it does. I guess it's also kind of a long component, relatively. So yeah, I wonder if it's actually worth making like
a player folder.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, and dropping this in there and making it the player shooter. Because I bet we'll have. Oh no! In fact, it's just player. We're just importing player shooter, and that will be really clear over here. Ah, VS
Nice.
Code. That's beautiful.
Oh, it figured it out.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm tempted to put the mover in there later, so
yeah.
Why
don't we do it?
Some...
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
All right.
I was about to ask you the philosophical question of whether you like whether you stutter the namespace in the file name. Like, would you call it playermover.ts or mover.ts?
I depend on this. I think this is good, especially since we can always do as player mover if we need to.
Yeah, got it.
That's the pattern I like. And have I already expounded on the virtues of no default exports? Or maybe you're the one who maybe expounded upon that to me.
You haven't, but I get it actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then I think in mover.ts, you got to rename the class to just mover and not player mover.
That's probably true. Yeah, and we'll need some games, and we'll need some entities, and we'll probably need this radial translate function that you wrote. Great. Sick. Yep. Still player move, still player shoot.
All right, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it feels like a very nice start to this. We won't use that shooter. Great. So we could make a new folder for enemy, but let's maybe just start with turret and deal with turret as its own thing.
Yeah.
Turrets get a shooter, and I am going to just copy the player shooter into the turret shooter.
Yeah. The other thing, if we want to over optimize the directory structure, one other thing that comes to mind is player.ts could be a index.ts under the player directory.
Oh yeah,
and it
easily.
Just exports the make player function.
I love it because that's all it does anyway. Yeah. So let's see what used our player and what is going to be upset about this game.
The playfield, maybe, or the game, whatever it is that iterates over the map. That's this one.
It already did. Oh no,
lowercase p. Yeah.
Wrong player. Ooh, all right. Playfield clamper.
Oh, you just need to.
Yep.
There's some relative imports there. This is a really nice side effect of doing the tildes, is that you can move stuff around, and since everything is absolutely padded. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I really, really love that pattern, because you get to sort of do the folder game with your code every once in a while, and just nothing cares.
Yeah.
And also, if you see this and you're like, these are all too long, it encourages you to pick better names.
Yeah.
I said rename, please. All right, so I guess let's see. In our, it might be nice to put a turret over here. Have that be our T.
Do you want to do lowercase t? Everything else is lowercase.
Everything else is lowercase, isn't it? Yeah. I do. It doesn't know how to render that. That's fine. And then here we go. Case T is make turret. Bring that in. Not a male turret. Make turret.
Oh,
Cool. Turret's got the same problem, but
yeah.
I don't actually think we have a playfield clamper on a turret.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay,
So
this is really promising.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing.
Yeah. Oh, they both have the shooter on it. Yeah.
Yeah, they both currently have the same shooter or a very similar shooter. But since it's lost its mover, it's not doing its thing. So let's see. I guess our turret path renderable is probably something like circle.
Same thing, but gray, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's just change the color.
Yeah.
Here, I'll do the let's draw this later color.
Yeah. Yes. Very nice.
Which is the color of our bullets already. Oops.
That's okay. The other thing you can do is yellow, but I don't know how to do yellow in hex.
Wait a minute.
What's the equivalent of the magenta of CMYK but for yellow? Oh, is that just it? Full red, full green?
Yes. I don't know why I know that.
No, it makes total sense actually, because full red, full blue is magenta, and full green, full blue is cyan, right?
Yeah, but something additive light circles instead of subtractive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I still have trouble with that. But okay, so we've got our yellow turret. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Our shooter is going to change a little bit. And interestingly, like I assume we want to not be able to do that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a wall.
I think it is a wall, and not a wall collider. This is a really nice test of is our components correctly composable.
Yeah.
Wall component is just a. Oh, it's nothing. Cute.
Yeah. We should maybe make that generic. Or we should maybe make that. I guess all we really are doing is just assigning something to wall. We don't even need a class, right? I think it's just like. This is our hack. Oh yes, nice.
Yeah.
It's our hack because we didn't have a way of tagging entities that the wall collider could collide against, and we used the nullness or the presence of a component value to determine that.
So that should be a valid wall component as well. Yeah. Oh, got it. Thought I hit it. Yep. But only from a certain side. Oh my God. Do we have a collider bug? Because I can drive up through it because we're calling north and south.
Because we're what?
We're calling the north collision because we have a southern collision with this wall. So
I thought it was
because I can't drive down. I can't drive to the side.
Why would I thought it's if the wall has the collision. Oh, you're saying the wall collider maybe doesn't handle this case very well.
Yes, we can. I can draw this one. Let's draw one of these elsewhere too, because this will be interesting, maybe for later. Which is this. I should be able to try. Oh, come on, really? Well, oh, there we go. Interesting. So this time I can drive down. Maybe it's the order it's drawn in. That's fine. We'll fix it.
Okay. It's a known bug. You know, it's funny, when you and I were working on some PRs over the last week or so, super exciting that we've got enough energy to sort of work on this off stream, which is great.
So fun. This was so fun. I love doing this.
Yeah, the tools are going to be really fun. That's actually kind of like why I started working on that Perlin noise demo, was that I was like, what if I can do like a noise brush on the map editor? I was like thinking like probably 1,500 steps too far ahead. But being able to kind of like procedurally generate the terrain would be really nice, right?
And it's because we were talking about noise too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it occurred to me that like now that we're both working on different stuff or whatever fancy strikes us, it might be good to start unit testing.
Yeah.
Not that that's anything we want to dive into too deeply on stream right now, but like I actually think that like having a suite of tests to sort of like stress test exactly this type of collision thing might be really good.
Boy, I have trouble thinking of how to test this, but I guess it's pick a position, being able to test the cases with like artificially constructing this chunk of walls in some sort of test case. We should be able to fail it at least. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think games are a situation where unit testing is easier than integration testing. Whereas I think in the web space, it's the opposite, where like in the web, it's very easy to simulate like a web request. So I like when I do web tests, it tends to be in that realm where it's like, let me set up something that looks as close to production as possible and then interact with it the way that like an external client would interact with the service. But like this one is like, it's actually, if you think about it, actually quite difficult to like construct a scenario. I guess you can make a map and like put it in there and then like simulate inputs. That's one way to do it. Like I think input capture is one way of doing it. You know, having a deterministic random seed as well. Like if you wanted to make sure that the particle emitter with like at that point you probably want a random object that starts the seed that you feed it, and then when it's called n number of times, you know.
Yep. Right, that makes sense. So you could always like get the same case out, and yep.
Oh, speaking of random number generators, let me do a quick plug. I might have posted this in the channel, but there is a video on YouTube right now talking about folks that are trying to speedrun Wind Waker, the Zelda game for the GameCube.
Yeah, you posted that. I saw that elsewhere too. It's really cool.
It's amazing. And the idea behind these types of speedruns is that, you know, of course, they're trying to play the game as quickly as possible, but the question is, like, what constitutes a full playthrough of the game? And in this case, I think they're trying to, like, 100% the game or something like that. They're trying to get, like, every item. They're trying to beat every single mini game. It's psychopathic, really. And I guess there's a mini game in Wind Waker, which is essentially Milton Bradley's Battleship. You know, you have to guess where these like contiguous lines of 3 or 4 node ships. I forget what it is. It's not a ship in the game, right?
They're like squids or something. It's nonsense.
They are.
Because everything is already a ship
mollusks.
in that game.
They're mollusks, of course. At any rate, I guess Battleship, the way that game is constructed, it makes it really, really difficult to score high on that game because it's really hard to predict. So they use essentially probabilistic techniques. They essentially mapped out every possibility over 5 million possible runs of the random number generator, and then just sort of it's incredible. They built like this tool that doesn't play the game for you, but it basically predicts based on how much time has elapsed when you've played the game, like what where the location of the squids in the battleship board.
It's so wild. Means,
yeah, and the thing is, it's like there's all different kinds of things that cause the random number generator to trigger, right? It just could be like what you're looking at on screen, or if you press a button a frame too late, it might cause 100 more random events that you didn't expect before. So like having a repeatable, 100% repeatable game run is really impossible, at least if it's a human doing it, right? But they were able to just say, well, it might be impossible, but at least we can reduce the range of possibilities down to a very, very limited number, which is just super incredible.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I was confused, and I was just like, how? Like, how do you even think of this? And then I was surprised it was possible to implement.
Well, the breakdown is really good. Not only are those folks totally ingenious, but they're really, really good at explaining a complex technical subject, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good plug. I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. What were we doing? Oh, well, we found a bug. We talked about unit testing and how we probably want some.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet Oh no. Let's see. I was going to say I would like to test my theory, which is that if that wall is not there, yeah, that's suddenly possible to not walk through. Great. Cool. Okay, so I think, let's see. Turrets have a shooter. They probably have a damageable. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's make it 10. They're really hard to do in the original game, so I might as well make them hard here.
Yeah.
But that means if I hit this 10 times... Woo,
Nice.
got him. We've got game entities. Super sick.
Yeah. That was a lot easier than I was expecting. I thought we were going to have to finagle it a little bit, but it just worked.
No, I'm glad, yeah. I lifted Damager and Damageable from a Unity class I took, so I'm really glad that pattern actually... I'm glad they taught me something.
So if you made the player damageable,
Uh-huh.
it could technically get shot by the turret, but I also think that like bad stuff will happen because, well, we don't garbage collect or drop the player. We just remove it from the list of entities that get updated, right?
I mean, I think...
the camera should still...
Yeah, I was worried I could actually shoot myself.
Oh, you should entirely be able to shoot yourself. I'm surprised that it doesn't work.
Huh. Oh, you know what it is though? The damager. Or let's see, is it the shooter itself? We're checking that a wall was hit. That's a big part of it, right?
Oh, are we?
Where did this go? I thought it was in. Oh, it's probably in bullet. Yeah. Right. Our bullet mover sees if there is a wall collider hit last frame. Yeah.
Oh, right. Because we don't do entity-to-entity collision whatsoever right now, right? We do entity-to-wall collision.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, I mean, this is. I don't want to keep this, but. Is it only making the player a wall that okay, the player there we go.
Nice. Yeah, and the player
died.
technically the player technically now collides with itself, right? Because the wall collider component.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Technically collides with itself, but doesn't.
Well, it's always overlapping with itself, so that's why it's never going to collide. But basically, we're not filtering it out of the loop, right?
Yep. And
in Wall Collider, we iterate over every entity, and then we see which ones are called walls, right?
Yeah. So I'm seeing a thing which is that, and maybe we can look at the entity interface, but I see something instead of this is more like collidable as a Boolean, or even collidable type as like some sort of enum, which is right now we basically have this behavior, which is every time we see wall, it's just, are we actually running into you?
Right.
So that we can replace our wall with just a single Boolean that says like suddenly you're in our collision system. Wall collider is just a little naive. And then like I can imagine like collidable type is like some bullets want to collide with a player, some bullets want to collide with non-player entities, and maybe that's sort of how that gets split up.
Right. Yeah, you're asking a really good question here. I think we're talking about two very distinct types of collision. One is collision that when you perform collision detection, you also do some collision resolution, so you prevent two objects from overlapping with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, classically is what wall collider should be used for.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a separate there's a separate type of collision, which is just like hit detection.
Yep.
Right. And for hit detection, we are using walls to determine that, which technically we shouldn't, right? Like we should be looking for something else. We should maybe even, damageable might even need to have a rectangle. And maybe what we should be doing is searching for overlaps between damagers and damageables, something like that. So both the damager and the damageable both have like hitboxes, essentially.
That makes sense to me. And I think actually our bullet hit detection could probably be, I mean, right now,
better. Yeah.
A lot better. Right now, our bullet is the size of a player and just sort of runs through the air, right? Like
it's the size of a full tile. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that feels not awesome, right?
That's a weird hit right there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. Yeah.
So to really hammer the point home, it happens to be the case that our walls are actually kind of an odd duck because they exist in both collision spaces. They exist in both the space of things you can collide into that should perform. There's a technical term in physics systems, but basically where you resolve collision by moving, the moving object away from the immovable object, which is what we do.
Yeah.
And so walls exist in that space. And that's technically what I think our wall component is about, at least when we originally wrote it. And that's what the wall collider is for as well. Like a wall collider says, I am moving around in this space, but I also want to be able to interact with these wall objects. But our walls also happen to participate in this space of things that can get shot. And I think that there's probably not going to be too many objects that have that duality other than walls. I guess turrets do. So we've already kind of gotten ourselves into the space of where, like, okay, where both turrets and walls are the only objects that will do like things that the player can't just move straight through.
Wait, Jeff, can you hear me?
But also things that can get hit by bullets and damaged by them. And I technically think that should be implemented using two completely different sets of components. And the fact that the hitboxes might be the same, like it might be that your wall collision uses the tile aligned, axis aligned, bounding box. You okay?
No, I've lost all audio.
I think I lost your audio, but it seems like you can still hear me.
Oh, what the? Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can hear you now. My mouse and keyboard stopped moving. All my sound stopped. You kept talking very animatedly in the bottom right of the screen, but like I couldn't hear a thing and I couldn't move anything until I opened my laptop.
Oh no! Oh, did it fall asleep?
No, because I'm on a 5K power thing. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me just double check the stream real quick and sort of take us back a second. Sorry.
No problem.
That was of all the unique problems we have, that was a new one. Okay, so stream might have just been going the whole time.
I think it might have been actually.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I see it. It's on right now.
Okay, great. Do a quick like audio check for sanity for me, and then I'll be happy to keep going.
Yeah, I will do that. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains, and everyone's face is still moving, so that's good. Okay. Weird.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Check. You're still there.
I am. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Cool. Sorry. Interesting. So wait. So you were at cutoff when you were saying just stuff about like the wall, or sorry, what the damager would do now, or the class of damage will have. Very few things will actually be damagers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think Well, very few things will participate in both wall collision and entity-to-entity collision. We just happen to have, I think, the two things that might fall into that category, which are walls and turrets.
Mm-hmm.
But I would encourage us to think of the systems that deal with wall collision and the systems that deal with entity-to-entity hit detection as two different systems.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
What I was going to get at is that I think if we made the bullets smaller and like actually did like, is the control point of this object inside the control point of the thing we're trying to damage?
Yeah.
We'd have a pretty easy hit detection, and I think it would actually feel better, kind of all around.
Yeah. I'm also not sure if bullets should be wall colliders, based on what I just said.
If bullets should be wall colliders, no, I don't think they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. I agree with that. So is the thought to move it to damager and damageable, essentially? See if we can make those two checks happen?
That's what I was thinking. We're basically getting into hitboxes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had, like we talked about map editors before and how we can define like arbitrary volumes and shapes that have logical significance. Mm-hmm. If we were doing like sprite editing for characters, there would also be a similar concept for characters where we'd be drawing boxes over the different frames of animation. And there would be three different types of boxes. One is the world collision box, which is the one that we'd be using for wall collision and that sort of thing. One is the attack box, or hitbox for attacking, which is like where you'd sort of like highlight the tip of like the player's fist or their the blade of the sword or something like that, or just the tip of the bullet. And then the third type of box would be the hitbox for defense, or the damageable box, right? Which could be the same as the world collision box, but oftentimes it's much smaller, or it's composed of a bunch of different volumes for the same character, so that it's much more granular to get hit by bullets or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're on the right path here. I think what we're getting at here is maybe damagers and damageables define their own. They have some spatial notion as well as having health or whatever.
Yeah, and that actually kind of works out really nicely because a damager just needs to it just checks every entity in the game and says, am I inside it filtered by damageable, and then am I inside a hitbox that it returned? And
yeah,
that probably works nicely. Mm-hmm. Do we have a rect interface?
We do not, actually.
We've gotten this far without even doing that, right? I think we probably want. Is this an AABB? Doesn't need an orientation as well? Oh, sorry, it doesn't need an orientation because we can rotate it if it's rotated.
Interesting. Yeah. Are we going to get into rotated rectangle collision? I'm totally happy to do it, but do we want to get into it?
I guess for bullets, I'm going to suggest a simpler than rectangle collision, which is just doing like, is the point in a rectangle, which I think is easier than trying to like, figure out which faces are touching.
Or we can do an axis aligned overlap with a very, very small box.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the way that I would maybe suggest, so this is actually would be like a hitbox shape. And I think what it should be is it should be a offset from the control point and then a width and a height. Does that make sense? So that would basically be two vec2s. Yep. One is the offset from the control point. The next one is the dimensions, basically.
Yeah. Yep, that does make sense. Cool. Okay, so maybe we can, and then hitbox is a hitbox. So maybe we can sort of work backwards here and try to add this to our walls and just make them damageable, but with a hitbox.
Yep.
Equals hitbox. And that's actually all the same. So let's see. Walls are damageable, and then the hitbox here is offset is vec2 dot. So this is half tile size.
Half tile, negative half
Yeah.
tiles. Yeah.
It's in fact exactly that point. And then dimensions
is a full tile in each.
Yeah. Do I want sorry, wait, is it dimension or dimensions? I'm having a brain fart.
Should be plural. I think, yeah.
Maybe I wrote that wrong. Because I agree it should be plural. Yeah, that's weird.
GL matrix needs to get imported, I think.
Darn tootin'.
Wait, how did you just do that? Did you just type it out and the refresh was slow?
So when you, yeah, check it out. So if I was to undo this, I figured out the VS Code secret sauce, which is as soon as if I hit enter right now, I get my import, and that's all I want.
It's funny. We've been trying to do that for text editors, or rather, rich text editors, where you have to hit space before it'll like update the thing that you were just typing. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, and space is like for some reason wrong. Okay, great. So let's see. So this is still working because the bullet is still looking for a wall collider.
Yeah. And the damager needs a hitbox too.
The damager needs a hitbox. Yeah, that's totally right. And where is our who defines
damager? Is in
Oh, it's actually in components interfaces, and we just kind of forgot. Oh, and this also needs a box. Great.
And eventually, probably damageable and damager could be arrays of hitboxes as well, if you wanted to do like complex shapes or that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so our bullet mover is, our bullet mover is what detects that something hit it, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think this logic is
damager. This is damager logic.
Should be in the damager, yeah.
Yeah, because this is the explosion and the camera shake. Yeah, and the mover should only be doing TTL stuff. Yep. But it should keep update. Cool. Oh, yeah, I question my decision to have put that there in the first place. This already makes more sense. Wow, hit last frame, we're going to be able to get rid of, which is nice.
Yeah.
See. Oh, and then game was alighted here, but actually we need it. Okay, great. So let's see. Let's actually, our constructor here, our bullet needs a hitbox. And do you want to make this like significantly smaller?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Like this is, negative tile size times like 1/10 of a tile.
Where do you want, like a bullet is currently a really, really narrow triangle, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about shaving this down too, so it's a little less tall.
So do you want the hitbox to be around the center of the bullet, or should it be in the front of the bullet?
Oh, that's a good question.
If you want it to be in the front, then the offset should be probably just as a displacement on the y-axis, assuming that we're talking about zero orientation being. being the tip of it.
Just a displacement on the y-axis. Right. Oh, interesting.
Because we're going to have to, the offset is going to need to get rotated by the transform's orientation.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but doesn't the origin need to be the top left corner of this box? Because if we want to make it wider than 1 pixel, it'll be like off to the side. Are you thinking that it's just there's just a single point that actually is the hit?
We could do the single point that's actually the hit. The other thing we could do is say, well, how big do you want to make the box? Like 2 pixel by 2 pixel, 3 pixel by 3 pixel. Like...
I picked a 1/10 of a tile for, or sorry, 2/10. I mean, I'm still scaling on the similar size, but
2/10, so 1/5 of a tile. Okay, so yeah. I think the origin should be. Let's say that we don't change the path renderable for the bullet for now, so it's still really long.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe it should be the x offset should be. I think you actually are already doing what I was going to say, but maybe the.
The y offset should be this. The x offset you're saying should actually be 0 to be at the tip.
It should be 0.1. I think you had it right because we want it to be centered around the middle, the vertical middle line.
Yeah, but it needs
so
to
basically,
be
if we had
this.
like a is it? Right. I don't think this drawing is showing up here, but if we had a middle line here, and you want to make the hitbox like this, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, I'm not getting your drawing. Try again.
So like this.
Yeah.
This is a theoretical center line, and then basically we're saying the hitbox is like this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. I can draw too.
Nice.
That's probably not showing up on stream. Crud. Okay. So yeah, wait. I would like to know why I am.
The damager.
This constructor is just needs hitbox. Cool. Wow.
I don't think we labeled the parameters.
Oh, but it's an interface. Isn't that necessary? Offset, not origin. That's what. And then this damager needs to go into iDamager too.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Which it did. That's got that. Oh, hitbox is bullet damager. Okay, cool. So what we actually want to do here instead is get the game.entities.filter and then e.damageable. Correct.
Yeah.
Except these are key value. What is our entity manager?
Sorry. We keyed by the entity ID, I think.
Right.
We do loop in the wall collider over entities, so that might be a pattern we can borrow.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we just did object.keys, no?
Line 23.
Oh, we just let... Okay. I did want to filter first, but that's okay. We'll just return early. Yeah. If e.damageable and to continue, yeah.
We need to actually get the entity from the ID. Wall Collider does it too.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I've done a bunch of on-sites this week.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so collided wall's gone. This we might end up with later. Really, it's probably something like that. Okay, so right now we know we have damageables, and we need to check that.
There's an overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, and is wall collider? I mean, this is our overlap function, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm. We need to rotate as well.
Yeah, and we're not changing the orientation of the, we're changing the orientation of the offset, but we're not unless we want to. We're not orienting the hitboxes yet. Right.
Oh, right, because the offset is.
What happened there?
Everything hits.
Everything hits themselves. Yes.
And
they hit themselves like multiple times. Is that what's happening?
I think because the bullet doesn't kill itself on explosion yet, so I think it just hits 5 frames in a row or 10 frames in a row, and you die. Yeah, it's great. I like that. Almost art. Okay, so we need to rotate the origin of the collider of the hitbox and then take it.
Yeah, maybe both the damager and actually maybe the hitbox. If hitbox is a class, maybe hitbox needs to return like an AABB based on a position and orientation, like a root position and orientation.
It's
because we're gonna have to repeat this for both.
Yeah, it's not a class yet, but it could be. You want to make this an iHitbox and go from there?
I think it could just be a straight up class. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. No capitals. Let's see. And you think it does take an orientation, right?
I think the orientation is going to get, it's going to be different every time. So what I was going to propose is that there's a method on this class that says that's just the AABB after the constructor. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is just rotated. Is it going to be, let's see, rotated by orientation? And this is going to take some of our math util function, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say that actually, rather than calling it rotated, we just call it the AABB, but it takes both an orientation and a transform, like a root position. Because, yeah.
Oh, right, because the position is of the object itself.
Yeah. I think position should probably be the first argument, actually.
Orientation.
And then it would return either a vec2, like 2 vec2s, and we'll decide what those mean in a second. What does wall collider use? I think it has like minimum and maximum, right? It returns.
Does it return? Wall collider does some funny stuff.
Yeah, but in terms of the boxes that we're using to do like overlap detection, we do minimum and maximum, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think my box 0 is the minimum of my box, and then my box 1 is the maximum.
Yep.
So maybe that's what this is. Yeah.
Cool. Right. It's not origin dimensions. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see. So we're going to rotate. Come on.
This is actually one where we can actually use the vec2.rotate function straight up, because I think it does what we want.
Is that so? Because it takes a point and an origin. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Rotate offset. Okay, so our point is rotation.
Off there.
Yeah, rotation first, set position second, and then rotate by orientation.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. And then we're returning rotated offset and vec2 from values, which is rotated offset 0 plus this dot dimension 0. Is that our maximum x and our maximum y is?
Yep. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's happening is that we're can't fire the gun. The tip of the bullet is a tiny square that actually doesn't rotate, but it is always at the tip of what we're rendering.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine. I feel like there's maybe a little fuzz in that, but not a ton, right?
Yep.
Cool.
That's right.
Great.
And if it's weird, we'll just need to rotate rectangle overlaps, and that's just a fun math problem that we can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so we've got our hitbox class. That means that everything that took a hitbox is wrong. No, am I not exporting it? That's probably why. It's too bad I wasn't smart enough to export it for me too.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know.
Maybe it has to be trained in the ways of the hitbox.
It has to learn it once. I'm gonna pretend that is true. And then let's see. It's probably actually fairly confused to have to deal with this from two different sources. Nope. Great job. Okay, back to this. Though actually our creation of the hitbox is in damager and damageable is probably a little funky.
Yeah, I think it just needs a new, probably.
Yep. In fact, that's all it needs. And no arguments. No argument names.
I'm at a point now where like I would just love to just put keyword arguments on every single argument for every single function. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe Objective-C had something going with that paradigm.
Dude, it really did. Objective-C had so many things going for it. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Let's see, and this is the other place we've done a hitbox, which is new.
Do you have a Prettier plugin installed? Is it auto-formatting for you?
I do, and it's supposed to be, which is why I'm so confused that like one of those wasn't really formatting right.
I'm surprised it's leaving the new on the same line as the previous parameter.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, well, we're missing a parenthesis, I think. Oh, there we go. Whew.
Yeah. I'm surprised this is valid though, because I'm not missing a parentheses. What the heck? This file's not formatting, maybe because of a different problem. Let's see, what are you grumpy at? There we go. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Boom. Checks out. Okay, great. So, let's see. We've got a damageable hitbox. We've got a damager hitbox. And really, we just want to run this rectangle collision on them that we have from wall collider.
Yeah, we'll just pull the AABBs off of the two. Yeah.
I'm going to toss this in. What were you say?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to toss this into math util because we're going to use it a bunch.
Okay.
EAB.
Overlap. Yeah.
Overlap?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is
do we need
A, vec2, vec2, B, vec2, vec2, I think.
Okay, yeah. Right, because we don't actually care. We're not going to care about anything in terms of like which one is inside of which one, if this is ever true. A, B. That's a surprising indent. That's continues to be a surprising indent, but it is.
I think we need a return. And then the indent will make sense, yeah.
Damn. Jeff, thank you for being my brain tonight.
Yeah. Should it be less than or equal to? I wonder about this a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And does that change the logic of the wall collider?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I guess this is equals to feels like it should be a collision as well, right? That's like a very precise collision.
It does, yeah. Yeah, it feels like it should be. Mathematically, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna change the wall collider in this pass, but maybe it will learn to use this shortly.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm almost tempted to call this overlap 2 or something. I don't know what to call it, actually. It is AABB. It is AABB because we're treating each vector as a point and not a range.
Mm-hmm.
But like if we did it a different way where it was just like, so A would be composed of not a point but a range on the x-axis and a range on the y-axis, and then B would be composed of a range on the x-axis and a range on the y-axis, then this would be a totally generic, like, are you overlapping on multiple dimensions type function. But because it's points,
yeah,
I think we treat it as AABB, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We should add that as well and see which one feels more natural to work with.
Yeah, well, the one-dimensional version of this would take ranges, right? The one-dimensional version of this would take, like, A would be a range on the only axis, and then B would be a range on the only axis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm exporting. And really, this is as simple as if there's an overlap between.
Or if there's not an overlap, you can continue, right?
Yeah, true. Yep. If no overlap between that and this dot hitbox dot abb, and we probably want to. Is this still called memoizing? No, it's just called keeping the variable.
And we need to pass in c dot transform c dot orient c dot transform dot position,
yeah.
c dot transform dot position.
Yep. Oh, position and orientation. Uh-huh. Just we need to actually get our entity, don't we?
Yeah, actually, here's a question. If we go back to Damager?
Yeah, we're in that.
Should we have a hitbox function here? Should we have an AABB function on this that pulls it off of the transform? Does that make sense?
I mean, versus what I'm just about to do.
You're going to do this twice. Once for, I guess my question is, should damager and damageable have their own AABB functions that
Right.
that do this entity.transform position and entity.transform orientation in a separate function? So that way, like, when we do hit detection, this function that we're currently writing doesn't have to look up the transform on the damageable, because the method on the damageable component would do that.
Yeah.
It's really hair-splitting differences, I think.
I can buy that, though. And then you actually get to call this without having to know about any parameters. Yeah, sure. Entity is interesting.
We might have to pass the entity in there, because currently our components don't know about their entities.
Yep. But that's okay. That's really not terrible. Entity. And then this will just be ABB entity. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like that. This dot. Oops. Okay. Then yeah, giving damageable the same function. It's basically exactly the same function, huh?
Yeah.
But at least we don't need to worry about it. And yeah, you're right. Something else might implement this differently. So I think that checks out. Cool. And then let's see. It at least needs to be on the damageable interface, which is a ABB takes a EI entity. Oops. And returns, what is this, a vec2, vec2?
Yeah, tuple of vec2s.
Yeah.
Arrow, it's fat arrow rather than colon. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It should be colon.
Wait, why is this colon?
It's
not because it's void, surely.
It is colon. It is colon. It's just that you have an auto colon space on line 36. Like AABB is like colon space. It should just be the get rid of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Great.
It's a method and not a property that is a function. If it was a property that was a function, it would be fat arrow.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna put this on the damage interface. I don't know if anyone's gonna call it, but I do think it might be nice to be consistent.
Okay.
It feels like public information, at least.
Yeah.
Cool. Which
we had like a debug menu. We wanted to draw these.
I was thinking of exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. C.damageable.aabb. Oops. Of C. And if that's not true, also continue.
That just needs to get imported.
Yep.
Come on, VS Code.
I know.
Not trying very hard.
And that time I need to do command period to bring up its fast import menu. Whatever.
I didn't know about command period. Today I learned.
It's their quick fix, and it kind of works.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so great. So we are going to damage it. We're going to mark for deletion. We're going to do an explosion. We're going.
Are we going to mark? Oh, we're going to mark ourselves for deletion.
Yeah, and then I think we return.
Oh, C is wrong, right? C, it should be this that we mark for deletion.
Yes.
Or. Yeah, this. Yeah.
Yeah, because damageable should.
Or entity. It should be entity. Sorry. Entity is the parent entity.
Yes, because damageable marks itself for deletion at 0 health. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The C is what gets damaged. Cool. We do our emitter. We do our shake. Shake. Let's see. Form damage. Particle. Show explosion.
Everything else is side effects, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or special effects.
So explosion. Remove self and no more damaging.
Do you want to move line 98 next to line 71? I feel like those are the two important business logic things. Everything else is just sizzle, right?
I guess I feel like return is actually really important, so we stop this loop as well. Like this is kill the bullet to me. Is that
yes? Yeah,
does that make
I
sense?
agree. Or we break. It kind of depends on like
But this has to be at the end, and it needs to happen after the side effects. I'd move damage down.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Damage, kill bullet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like return or break, but it has to be the end. Okay, so that's not good.
That's a null pointer dereference, right?
Let's find out, but probably. Oh boy, it's unhappy. Cannot read. Yep, great. This dot AAB C dot damageable. That really
is that the line? Is that the line that is it line 66 that it's unhappy about?
Damageable 16. Ah. Oh, I bet the place we construct this damageable. Well, let's see. Our wall is damageable. Did I make our player damageable and leave something? Let's just take that off for now. Ah. Okay, bullet. Oops. Bullet 66. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Are we still calling? Can we look for all cases of new space damageable?
Yeah, totally. Oh, you know what? Turret.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm surprised that the type system is not complaining about that. Is there a way that we could get it to do that?
Yeah, it really should have, huh?
I agree. Yeah.
Also, can you see what's happening here?
The bullet is hitting the turret.
No.
They're just we're not the overlap is not working correctly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that must be the case.
Do we want to draw our hitboxes?
Yeah. Though,
right.
actually, yeah, real quick. I'm gonna take. Actually, I want to take this other shooter off too.
Okay.
So our player bullet isn't doing it, and if I. Yeah. Okay. That does seem incorrect, doesn't it?
Well, is the bullet a wall collider now?
You know, it was a wall collider. I guess it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Yeah. That's really cool that worked that way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a hit, and it's dying, which is good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that looks that's more expected. So yeah, our box is not being drawn. Let's draw our bounding boxes. I'm gonna make the bullet red, so we can have magenta actually be something useful.
Okay.
How? What?
Yeah, I like the idea of like.
Huh. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, like how about a cyan bounding box for the damageable and a magenta for damager?
Okay. So let's see. How would we do this? Is it a pre-render on both of these? Like,
I might actually do this at the level of the game, even
okay.
because it's like a debug mode that should be independent of the like.
Oh,
Our components are just data, right? And so
yeah.
when we do
Okay.
the render, if debug mode is on, which we could just leave on all the time,
Yeah, that makes sense. If debug mode, then we're
should it
gonna.
be a true or false, a boolean?
Yeah. Okay. It was truthy.
Yeah.
This dot entities. Let's see.
I think we have to do the ID based loop,
Yep.
the same loop that we've got in the damager.
Yeah. For ID in this dot entities. Const e equals. Wait. It's this dot entities. Dot entities, right?
Yeah.
That's the object. Cool. So let's see. Maybe let's just start with console.log. If e.damageable, and then if e.damager, hitbox.aab.
Damager has its own AAVB. We could do that.
Oh, they both do, don't they? That's
Yeah.
great. That takes E, and then this will render the damageable. Okay, great. Yep. That's in there. But instead, what we want to do is ctx.fillRect. And we'll need to actually drop this.
Begin path, right? We could just stroke. We could do a stroke, right?
I was gonna. Yeah, we can do a stroke rect. Because we can just pass in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we might need to translate the points as well because the camera matters here, right?
Right. That's what I was thinking. So it needs to. Do we call camera.sent? Oh, to render pause. Yeah. Okay, great. What does this take? Okay, x, y, width, and height. So we just need x and y to render pause. Actually, that's great. Debugging. Okay, so actually I just need the first one. Const render pause equals camera dot to render pause ABB 0 and stroke rect render pause 0, render pause 1, AABB 1, 0 for width, AABB 1, 1 for height.
So our AABBs are not, in this case, they're not width and height. They are actually positions. So you're going to have to subtract off AABB 0, 0, and then AABB 1 or 0, 1 to get the height. width and height.
Yep. That makes sense.
And I'm not sure if we should be adding one to those. I think our positions here are infinitesimally narrow, so we shouldn't be adding one.
Like literally 1 pixel, you mean? Sorry.
Yeah. It's not like. Well, I don't know. Like if you had a box of, like if you had a box that started on pixel 1 and ended on pixel 1, is that a box of width 1 or a box of width 0?
Right.
I think if you overlap on the edges, which is what we said it is, it should actually be +1, right?
Okay. Yeah. To the width, right? Or to the size, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, noticeably nothing is rendering here. Oh, yes it is. Found a problem.
That's interesting.
Because there should be one of these on every wall.
Single wall, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back and look at that. Oh, well, I found the problem. This is exactly where it's supposed to be. Because this is, we're rotating, but we're not actually translating it. We're not translating the offset from.
Oh, so maybe the radial translate is the correct thing. Maybe you were right.
Does that take translate E?
Well, no, the problem is the amount here is
right.
wonky. So I think what we need to do is it's a slight modification of what we have here. So we need to add the rotated offset to the position. Does that make sense?
Add the rotated, yeah, it does. Which can be const vec2 dot. We can just do vec2 dot add, right?
Yeah.
And then rotated offset, position.
Yeah.
None of that. That's great.
That's awesome. Okay. And then we need to do the same with damager as well.
Indeed we do. That's not correct.
Yeah.
And you were saying magenta for this?
Yeah. I bet that's drawing in the upper left corner as well.
Really?
Well, the damager component needs the same modification that we made to damageable. Because,
fair. Which is really only the bullet damager right now, right?
Yes.
But wait, didn't I just make this modification to? I made it to the hitbox class. AABB should be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Should be AABB. I want to turn off the bullet. I'm just going to turn off this path renderable for a second.
I don't see it.
Ah, I do. Oh, I have so many questions.
Oh, weird.
Huh. Okay, path renderable isn't the problem. Let's see. Our hitbox is not that complicated. And our AABB is position orientation, which is correct. getting our own AABB. Huh. That's so interesting. That looks correct. But it also...
Well, could be the orientation thing. What if we didn't... Oh, that looks... When it's going straight up, it looks correct. Yeah, so our math in hitbox class is wrong, right?
Okay. Yep. But our rectangle collision is correct. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad we're drawing these?
It's really cool that we're drawing these.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. So it starts.
So if you're pointing straight up, I guess you'd have to reload to like really point straight up.
Yeah, but like.
Does that hitbox look centered? It does, right?
Yeah, but then a little bit this way.
Yeah, and it's all haywire.
Now, what have I rotated around?
Oh, I know what the problem is.
Yeah. Well,
you go to hitbox.ts.
Yeah.
Line 16 should be the origin. Should be 0, 0.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because we rotate.
The offset is in model space. The offset is in the space of the model as if it's not in the world at all.
That makes sense. Ah, boom. That looks really cool.
Yeah, now we have little arrows, right?
Neat, dude.
And our collision should now be like super precise and accurate too, right? Like we shouldn't be able to like fire at the far corner of a wall and hit it still. It might actually be even really hard to play at this point.
It's hard to get that close miss, but it does feel. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's what we want, right?
Oh, it's some classic hitbox porn right there. That looks really good.
Right.
Yeah, and it's weird. You can sort of see since the ABB isn't rotating, you get this sort of funny. It's got a different. Wow, that hits sometimes too. That's really interesting. It's got different shapes around sort of where it hangs out on the bullet depending on how you shoot. Like that seems fairly goof.
Right. So I think maybe what you're saying here is that like having a rotated collision box at some point is going to matter for us, right?
It could. Yeah. But also this is really rad.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, great. So what were we trying to do? We're trying to make things damageable.
Yeah.
Because we were going to make a turret shoot at the player.
Can I make a cool little? This is the stuff I get off on. It's not any of the gameplay stuff, but can we add a hotkey that enables the debug mode and disables it?
Oh yeah, dude, 1000%. What do you want it to be?
I guess it could be one of two things. One is we could make a JavaScript function that does it, and we could just call it up from the console, or we can just make a hotkey that we like something like tilde or something like that turns it on or off.
I want tilde.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna drop a. Let's see. So this will turn this into a let. We'll give it a false. And yeah, and this is gonna be this.
We have a keyboard, right? I think it already exists.
Yeah, but the keyboard is a set of down events, and I actually just want I want like key up on tilde, and that's it. Okay. And it always happens, and it always fires.
Is there such a thing as key up on tilde?
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna take key up on.
Oh, key up on backtick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, whatever key we're doing.
Yeah.
If event.rich debug mode equals not debug mode.
Is it just which equals the string? Is that,
Ah,
or is it a number?
we need the number, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. Key code. Nope, backtick T code. I'm gonna log this. I want to make sure I got it. Well, let's guess that it's 100 because it's not. 192.
No. Only off by 92.
Only off by 92, which is like the letter F or something. Boom.
You like that?
Yeah, developer mode. That's really sick.
Yeah.
I like
systems porn. Yeah.
Oh, I really like too that I can just like it's extremely since it's just this key event, extremely malleable and feels like the game is really reactive.
Yeah. You're like a god in your own world here, Dom.
I love it. I really love it. Well, okay, so here's a fun one. I'm about to put the box back on, or I'm about to make player damageable, and we'll make the turret damageable as well.
Nice.
So this will take a new hitbox. That is...
It's the same one as the wall, right?
It's the same one as the wall, yeah.
Although it's going to be super goofy on the player, because the player can rotate.
It'll be...
Oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, because you're rotating around the middle of the player.
Yeah.
The player will just be a box.
Right. Is it super goofy, or is it just like a little goofy? My mouse just died. I'm having second. At least you're still there. I'm still there. You're still there. I know the stream is working.
No, this is all fine. This is the reality of programming in computers.
This is fine. Well, now I get to show off my RGB mouse to go with my RGB everything else.
Wait, did you get that for free when you bought the keyboard?
No, I bought them independently.
Oh my god! So you needed the mouse with the ground effects.
Yeah, I mean, bro.
Is the track the scroll wheel lit up? Is that what I'm seeing there?
The scroll wheel is lit. The whole mouse is lit. To be honest, this was a real $13 win for me.
Can I ask what motivated you to buy that? You just needed a mouse, or like what the?
I wanted a third mouse button, and the Apple mouse is just terrible at it. It was for like some game where I needed to middle click, and I couldn't get through the tutorial without a middle click.
What game needs middle click?
I don't remember. Maybe it was one of the Assassin's Creeds or something.
Wait, are you playing games on your Mac?
No, but I was trying to. So I bought a mouse. Now I don't. So I've just got a stick mouse now. But
there's a yeah.
I was just say on Fiber I installed the NVIDIA streaming service, and it's pretty good.
Is it? Have you tried Stadia?
No, I haven't. But the NVIDIA GeForce Now is like nice and has a lot more games on it.
Interesting. It was funny how much fanfare there was about Stadia, and everyone like kind of shat on it. But I thought they were like shitting on it because they were scared of it. You know.
I don't.
It is the future, right?
I think it's the future. Yeah, I like that someone else's hardware will run my stuff for me. Yeah. I don't want it to be Google. If possible, I don't.
Who's it gonna be, right?
I mean, like
Amazon,
Sony, NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's really cool.
The offset should be.
The offset is correct, right?
It is correct.
But it is our so wait, hang on. So our origin is here. When we rotate 90 degrees, what is it rotating around?
I think the right thing is happening.
Really?
Yeah, because we want the offset. We want the upper left corner Well, it's probably not doing the right thing. We want the upper left corner of the hitbox to be. Aren't you glad we're rendering these? It's really cool, right?
It's really cool.
I think what we want is like a flag that doesn't rotate it. It just gets gnarly. I hate having flags. I don't want any variability.
Oh god, right. Wait, this is great. I can.
Oh, we can hit ourselves. Yes.
Yeah. This is fine. That's not.
I love this. This is awesome, actually.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, this still feels like a hitbox problem then.
I mean, this is a problem with our whole system. You know, like you were saying that it was goofy on the bullets.
Yeah, it's same problem, right? It's like it's not rotating on the correct point, or it needs to rotate the actual box. Because what we've done is we've taken the offset here and rotated it to here, and then said draw a rectangle, and then rotated it to here, and then said draw a rectangle. Now it's over here.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Damn these computers and their extremely specific correct reproduction of our incorrect instructions.
It's another monkey paw thing, right? It's doing literally what we asked it to do.
So literal.
Yeah.
Do you want
to? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want to pass a non-rotating flag? Well, here's the thing. I would like. What if we made the box smaller for this though? Because in fact, our offset is. Oh, this is the wall. Sorry, our player is smaller than the wall. It's actually 0.3 and 0.3.
Yeah. So the way that this should really work is. If we wanted to rotate the collision as well, we should be taking the upper left corner, rotating it by the orientation, taking the lower right corner, rotating it by the orientation, and that's your new rotated box.
How? But then our collision's not going to work at all because the range is incorrect.
Yeah, the collision's not going to work because we're not doing rotation sensitive collision.
Yeah. Okay.
So really, what we want here is a don't take the orientation into account flag. Unfortunately, maybe an optional argument. Optional params in the constructor or something like that.
I think that'll get us around this bad boy.
Okay.
I do like that the player's hitbox can actually be narrowed now. Like I made it map to what we actually drew.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
So it'll be nice when that rotates with the player because it'll have that just perfect hitbox detection. But let's do should rotate. Should rotate equals should rotate is undefined. True or should rotate. And is this optional? Yeah. Okay, great. So we'll just give you a false for the player.
And then we actually need to take into account in the AABB function.
Oh gosh. What an excellent point.
Yeah.
Right.
We just rotated offset should be equal to offset unless we're rotating and then we do the thing there. Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't expect that at all. Okay. Uh, 16 true and 1 false sounds correct to me. Vec2 add offset is a vec2. Rotate offset is a vec2. This needs to be
Vec2.copy.
Yeah.
Clone will do it without the creates.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Right, because in fact what we're doing is adding this and just shooting it off the screen really fast. There we go. Okay. Goofy, but fine.
Yeah, until we do rotated collisions. And you can still hit yourself.
Still hit yourself. Well, I would maybe attack that a different way, personally.
Yeah, I think hitting yourself maybe is something where the damager takes in a series of tags. Like we start having a whole database of characteristics on.
Yep.
And this may be the way that we can flag walls as well, where we just define this arbitrary set of tags or strings, of which you can have multiple per entity, and then you can say that a bullet damager, when you instantiate it, looks for these tags, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Okay, so we still need a couple of things. Still need to be walls, unfortunately.
Turrets need to be walls, right?
Turrets need to be walls. And walls need to be walls. And I was going to replace it with this null component because actually I think this is... I'd rather that look like a much bigger coat smell to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got our wall health. Got a hitbox. These can rotate technically.
Yeah, I think eventually walls will probably become the yellow debug hitbox. Like the wall component will have its own AABB function or something like that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
We could do it that way. I mean, not for this game. That might be even over engineering because like everything right now is a single tile size. Actually, the wall collider really relies on that property, so maybe we shouldn't mess with it.
Yeah, I think wall. I'm comfortable with wall collision being what it is. I'd like to be able to drive through here, to be honest.
Oh, this is because we did the less than or equal to. Do we update that?
Oh, I didn't change the wall collider.
Oh, okay, interesting. So this is just like new behavior that we discovered recently.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you can get through here and drive down that way, but if I shoot out this one, I can't drive in here anymore either.
Yeah, because before that horizontal edge didn't exist, right?
Yeah, and I bet if we look at our we've lost our original goal, so we should maybe pick up turrets again next week, or next stream. But I assume it's something to do with this. We're halting.
Terrain collision, man! I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing.
I know,
it's by far the hardest thing.
And it was so we got pretty good too. We got better than Pong or than Breakout, so like I'm still happy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's actually better than Breakout at this point, right? We can drive through walls.
We can drive through some walls. We can't drive through some other walls.
Yeah.
Fair. Oh, that's interesting. And this always logs nothing? Great.
But we have this cool debug draw mode, right? I think that's the big victory of the stream.
I mean, we got that. We actually have a very nice hitbox class.
Yeah.
That I think is really cool. I mean, look at that. Look at that sliver. Our game hit that before.
Yeah.
Oh god, and it hits yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's realistic, right? You can definitely be hit by your own bullets you shoot yourself.
Yeah, I guess
if you for life.
If you run faster than the bullet you're shooting, that probably will happen to you.
or if the bullet bounces off a piece of metal that you happen to be shooting at in the junkyard
Yeah.
because you're a teenager and you don't know any better.
Classic Ricochet.
Yeah. Classic Ricochet. Yeah.
Yeah, here, this is so interesting. So this is what, there's the double collision. And I want to know which walls, what do you think?
I think what it is because you're like a tile in width, you're just like perfectly not fitting there. That's what's happening, is you're just like slightly off on the y-axis.
It's tough though, because this works, but I think it's actually because the bottom collision is not happening. Like I can get into this.
Oh yeah. Right.
I have a dumb solution for this.
Make the bounding box slightly narrower.
Yeah, make the walls 1 pixel narrower.
Well, the walls need to touch each other, although not necessarily, right? They don't have to be super. Well, they have to be flush.
No, because we're actually checking for a neighbor in terms of tile position, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't even need them to be like right on top of each other technically. Another time maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're pretty close to the end. I think this is dope, so I'm really happy.
It is pretty freaking dope.
And wait, can I blow this turret up? Wait,
it doesn't have a damager on it. Damageable.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the turret blow upable, and then we'll be done. Everything is wonderful. You need a new hitbox, and your hitbox is definitely the same as the wall's hitbox. You're just a wall.
Can we also add, when you die in the damageable class, spawning a new particle emitter that is just like pornographically large?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Wait, sorry. We need to know what hitboxes are. We need to know what vec2s are.
Is that all command period? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm hitting enter. I'm typing the last character and getting it to come out. Yeah. Okay, so damageable. You want to see a new particle emitter on death.
Yes.
I strongly agree with this. If this is health at 0, and let's see. Should this take a particle emitter in the constructor so we can sort of like decide? Maybe make this an optional. Because do you want every wall to explode as well? We'll just make everything explode. That's fine.
Yeah, let's just make everything explode for now, and then I think we can factor it out later.
It's fine. My grand design, I understand.
Yeah.
Let's see. So how? Let's copy that bullet one, and let's go to town on it a little bit.
Yeah. Eventually, this will be like a death effects component that checks the damageable and says like, did I die today? And then if I did die today, then do some crazy shit. Should we use your tool to design this?
I'd like to use the tool.
Yeah.
Let's just get this all in here. We need our vec2s. We need our tile size. Okay, so right now we're going to get our... Yeah, that's just a normal explosion. Not big enough.
Nope. Not enough colors.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the colors. So let's bring in some of these guys. A little of that, a little of that, a little of that. D700. Boy, someone should really write some better CSS for these form fields. Gosh. So embarrassing. Let's see. So particle time to live. That. I feel like the particle speed actually is going to be kind of slow, but we're going to get some big particles.
Yes. This is like a nuke. Did you ever play A Scorched Earth?
Another
classic tank game of the...
Oh, yeah. I played that.
You know, the artillery game where you can get like different... It has explosions that look like this. Like,
it's just worms, right? It's basically just worms.
You know, I confess to you, I never played Worms.
Okay.
But there's many games. I think the game Tank is Scorched Earth as well. Like it's.
How cool is?
Pretty rad.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, is that exploding enough for you?
Yeah, the radius is definitely engorged, I'm going to say.
Okay,
But
so
I wanted pornographic explosions, so I'm getting what I asked for.
yeah, I feel like you absolutely requested this.
Yes.
I really like having the wildly variable speed. Actually, is a really nice trick for this sucker.
Yeah.
Man, I love this like arc control too. It's really neat.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a way that we can make the updates to the emitter tool live per particle, right? Like we could maybe even update the emitter as we're updating the controls.
I'm sorry, wait. Hang on. I'm gonna blow myself up. Ah,
Yes.
blaze of glory.
You're getting good at doing cool stuff in the game. This is like Just Cause.
Time to pivot. Are you saying you actually want to update this value like as the emitter's emitting?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Whew, that'd be kind of cool. I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, we can do it later, but
Yeah.
that would be one feature request.
Okay. Okay. Request received. Maybe we need that sound effect soon, Jeff.
Right? It kind of feels like we've been beating around the bush a little bit.
I mean, mouth sounds are great. Maybe we got to record our own sound effects. We got some microphones. We've got the last podcasting mics on the planet. So
we do. We definitely did.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Shall we call it there?
I like how long it took to kill that thing.
It's got a lot of health. It's a tough turret.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it shoot at you and really hard to kill that way, too. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, this game is going to be so good.
Already is. Yeah. All right, sick. Well, that's all for tonight. Time to stop the stream. Good night.
All right. Sunday is our next stream.
Sunday.
I might push us to Saturday, maybe.
I've got a hike planned Saturday, so I'm gonna be away from my computer.
Okay.
We could also take Sunday off if you want, like Sunday to yourself.
No, I want to do the stream. The stream's like the best part of my week. But it's also the day before my I go back to work after a week off.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
okay.
Maybe it's fine.
Think about a day off too. If it happens, it happens.
No, I want to keep the rhythm up. This
okay.
is good.
Deal. See you on Sunday then.
All right. Take care.
All right. Cheers.